All right, welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Patrick. As always, Pick My Soul Alive here. Rex Kehoe, Patrick Crowley. We have a pretty fun topic here that we're going to be talking about today. A lot of 2018, 2019 stats for U.S. solar. So this is deep dive number 62. Wow.
Getting up there.
We are. All right, as always, ask us anything, write a comment, send us an email, give us a call. We'll answer any and all of your questions. Okay, so this report, this segment is based off of, is from SEIA and Wood Mackenzie, so there's some great stats that were in this report. I don't know if you've read the entire report. I think it's a couple thousand pages long maybe, but we're going to go over the highlights here.
Yep.
So some U.S. solar market insights from 2018. This is kind of a review with the solar market there.
Right. After 2018, looking forward to 2019.
Yes.
One could say.
Absolutely. Okay, so in 2018, 10.6 gigawatts of solar were installed, which is a 2% year-over-year decrease, it sounds like.
Yes. And which is actually really interesting because just in 2018, what represented, based on this report, at least how I've read it, 16.5% of all of solar installed capacity in the United States of all time. And so,
wow.
Going back to just last year, we're looking at the trend of just these last 2 years represents nearly a third, well, actually probably more than a third, of the entire installed capacity in the States. So even though it is a year-over-year decrease, we'll get into a little bit of why that might have been.
Right.
Still tremendous growth recent.
Right,
for the solar
recent
industry.
years.
Yes, exactly.
That is encouraging.
Yes, quite.
All right, so yes, for the 6th straight year, solar is one of the top 2 sources of new electricity capacity.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a very interesting fact. What would
Hot streak.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably natural gas recently.
Gas for sure.
I don't know if they got the longest top 2 streak. I think we'll get into that in a later slide.
Very nice.
I've gone through this deck once or twice myself.
So I think this is kind of what you were saying earlier. So
Yeah.
64.2 gigawatts all time have been installed,
Right.
which is equal to 12.3 million homes.
Wow.
Okay, a lot of solar going up.
That is crazy. And 75% just 11 years, or I guess maybe 11 years, depending on what we're counting those eights at. But it's crazy that recent growth. And the tax credit has been around. I think the technology kind of getting to a point where it did level off, gave people a little bit more confidence to go solar. Obviously, there's a newer wave of environmental thinking that has happened in the last 10 years,
right.
where people are a lot more conscious of it.
That coupled with it just being a more mature market now, people
Yes.
have heard about solar.
Costs have come down so significantly.
Yeah, all of that included, yeah.
Both residential and commercial scale.
For sure. All right, so in 2018 alone, it looks like 314,600 systems were installed, 8% growth from 2017. Q4 was the largest quarter in 2 years of having solar PV systems installed.
Yeah, a lot of people trying to get, and this is for residential solar, and obviously for us, that's encouraging that the residential market is still growing.
Right.
And the commercial market or utility scale market is probably what's contributing to that total.
For sure.
Because they have just such a large market share in terms of the total capacity.
Much larger projects, yeah.
But yeah, the fourth quarter is always. Traditionally, a lot of people are trying to rush in to get their systems installed so they can qualify for that tax credit.
Yep.
This Q4, when the tax credit's going to step down next year,
huge rush.
Yeah, I bet you it's more than 8% growth from 2018 when we do this report in a year.
That's true.
Very good point. Yeah, that's a pretty good indicator that people do try and push. That means installers get busy. It's harder to get yourself into that mix. That's going to increase this year. And for sure. You want to get ahead of that.
And as Patrick mentioned, this is the last year for the 30%
correct
federal tax credit. We will still have a tax credit next year and the following, but this is the last year for the full 30%. So
very important distinction there.
Yep. All right. So this is just kind of a graph showing the residential quarterly installation volume starting from 2013 all the way up to Q4 of 2018. So you can kind of see the ebbs and flows there. Yeah. All in all, positive trend. A little bit of a dip, but now looks like we're on the incline there.
Yeah, and the business is what we call a solar coaster. So you see it coming up, taking that little dip, and then it's going back for another ride. We'll see where it goes next. Hopefully not a drop. That would be
the solar coaster. I love that terminology.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Shout out, great car.
So non-residential PV, and PV means photovoltaic. for those of you who might not know, declined 8% due to policy shifts in California and Massachusetts. Looks like 6.2 gigawatts of utility solar was installed in 2018. What do you think some of these policy shifts may have been to have this slight decline?
Sure. In Massachusetts, they made a transition from SREC 2 to the SMART program, so maybe a little bit of uncertainty around the commercial. Just wanted to see how that played out.
Yep.
It's still a great program, but just whenever you're switching an incentive program, a lot of people just want to see how it works.
Yeah, for sure.
California, there have been some things with the investor-owned utilities, raising their rates, going bankrupt, or potentially going bankrupt.
Time of use, which I'm not exactly sure how it applies on the commercial scale.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you remember, there was a solar tariff. 2017, 2018. Yep. There was some uncertainty, and so it wasn't necessarily the worst in terms of the actual shifts, but there was a lot of uncertainty around a few things,
which had made people hesitate making their decisions.
And on the non-residential scale, their ROI is super important, investment super important, what's going to happen to your money. So just making sure that you're fully aware of those incentives, how it's going to play out, what tariffs are going to be applied and not. It's important, so people do put the brakes up a little bit.
And I mean, now that we have seen the effects of those tariffs, they honestly haven't been that significant.
No,
so
not too bad.
Hopefully, what we'll see is now that all these buyers that were kind of on the fence, they've seen what these things are actually doing, and it's not going to impact their investment that much. Hopefully, we'll see a nice little spike here.
That'd be fantastic.
All right, so this is showing just kind of not all, but a lot of different energy sources here. Solar being the bottom blue one, so you can kind of see from 2010 all the way across to 2018. We can see that kind of ebbs and flows, definitely on the upward, for solar adoption.
Does that coal category include clean coal, or is that regular coal?
Is any coal clean?
That's what I heard. Anyway, good to see it getting the old stanky boot out of the.
It is disappearing. Yes,
out of the capacity there. Solar growing, natural gas growing at an even higher rate.
Right.
Wind. That's probably that's just a high cost to get installed. But I mean, it's still a great market.
Yeah.
I mean, this is to be clear. These are the new generating facilities.
For sure.
This isn't the total generating facility.
Yes.
So what this is showing essentially is, as far as what we are doing going forward, it almost seems 100% renewable. I don't know what that other stands for. Right. That's probably that clean coal that we've been hearing about.
Might be. And wind, wind is pretty much all non-residential applications. It's tough to have a windmill in your backyard.
Yeah, if you got one of those, give us a call because we want to see how that works. Net metering with a wind turbine.
That would be interesting. All right, so 14% growth is forecasted in 2019 versus 2018. So hopefully, like I was saying, some of the people maybe were on the fence, have seen that, still makes a lot of sense to go solar. We'll see them.
I think the tax credit too is going to be a big factor to that. There's a lot of people who've been thinking about it, and there's, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. If you're thinking about it,
it's not going to get any better.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's not going to get any better. Certainly nothing on the horizon to say it's going to get any better.
Right.
Outside of electricity rates increasing and things of that nature, it's still going to make sense, but maximize your savings.
100%.
Yeah. So I can see a lot of people doing that.
All right, so total U.S. PV capacity will more than double over the next 5 years. That is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the last 2 years, contributing to a third of our total PV, makes sense. Next 5 years.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's do it to it.
All righty, so that is it for today. Pick My Solar. We are an online marketplace, so if you are looking into solar or thinking about looking into solar, give us a call. We're going to do a full analysis of your specific project, and we'll figure out with you if it's going to make sense to make that switch.
Sure will.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next week.